meet you.
No. The honor is mine. Please, come. Sit. I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice. Tumbling down the rabbit hole?
You could say that.
I can see it in your eyes. You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, this is not far from the truth. Do you believe in fate?
No,
Why not?
because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
I know exactly what you mean.
Flat Earth is basically the bottom of the rabbit hole. If you
Let me
question
tell
the
you
shape
why
of the
you're
world, you've questioned everything that can be
You're
questioned.
here because you know
If you
something.
think about it, like what else
What
is
you know
there?
you can't explain.
You're questioning the biggest
you
claims
feel.
that they make.
You felt it.
Like
your
this stuff is all
entire
being
life.
agitated. It's being
There's
provocateur.
something wrong
I mean,
with
everybody
it.
here knows
You
about
don't know what
9/11.
it is,
Whatever your thoughts
but
on
it's
who
there.
done it, you really ought to be
Explain
looking
it.
not at who done it because that's what they want you to be focused on, but instead focus on what was it? What is it? Well, what it was is an event, a psychodrama, a transformative psychodrama. It was an event presented to the world in order to push everyone over a psychological threshold and move you from one world
Do you
into the
want to know?
post-9/11 world. And so the
What
post-9/11
it
world was
is?
less secure. It required more safety precautions, bigger government. It
The
validated
Matrix is
xenophobia, justified
It is
it.
all around us.
They created
Even
war
now,
in the
in
minds
this
of the
very
believers
room,
so that they could go do war
you can see
in
when
reality
you look out
out there in the
your
world.
window,
It's the Psy war
Or when you
where they
turn
get
on your
people.
television.
It's meant to terrorize you.
You can
9/11
feel it
was meant
when you go
to
to
terrorize you.
work.
So instead of
When you go
having
to
to
church.
physically intimidate everybody
pay
and
your
have
taxes.
jackbooted thugs walking down the street with guns, no, they get
It
in your
is the
mind.
world that has been
And now there could be a
painted
terrorist
with
next door.
lies to
Now
prevent
everybody,
you from
if you see something, say something. Same with the shooting now. If you see
What
something,
truth?
say something. Or if you don't like your classmate, rat on him to Big Brother. I mean, it's really a formula for destruction
That
and destroying the
you are a
cohesiveness of
slave.
society, eliminating trust. You don't want a lot of
Like
insecure
everyone else,
people
you were born
who are
in
bigoted
power.
and afraid, forced to mix
Prison
together
that you cannot smell or taste.
with all these lies in their heads planted by the government. And that's what they're doing. I mean, how dumb is it that people kill over religion? But it happens all the time. Well, people are ready to kill over political ideology,
Ironically, this
over
is not
beliefs.
far from the truth.
And the belief systems that people have
Unfortunately, no one
are being
can
framed for them by
tell
the
what
game
the
programmers.
Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.
Phones are open if anybody wants to call in and ask any questions about the Matrix, the Exit the Matrix Expo. So the expo
This
is
is
in
your
Las
last
Vegas. It's on
chance.
Memorial Day weekend.
After this, there is no turning back.
One of the speakers
take the blue
is
pill.
the founder of Metabunk,
Story ends.
Mick West,
You wake up in your
who
bed
actually
and
I'm familiar with his
whatever you
work
want.
because I've consulted
You
in
take
his
the red
explanations.
pill.
Whenever I come across
You
something,
stay
I
in
want to know
Wonderland.
all the different points of view. What am I missing?
And I show
Because
you
what
how
liars
deep
do,
the rabbit
or if not
hole
just
goes.
liars, but charlatans, is they, anybody who's trying to get over on you, or salesman who's selling a used car that's a lemon, they're only going to present to you what looks good, and they're going to minimize or if
Remember,
possible ignore what doesn't, because it's all
I'm
about
offering
trying
is the
to
truth,
influence you.
nothing more.
So if you want to have the total picture, you have to be objective enough to get a fuller assessment, which means let me get a second opinion on this car before I pay for it, that kind of thing. Due diligence. So due diligence, I often checked out Metabunk, and it provided some useful counterpoints to many of the things being posited
Follow me.
by other conspiracy theorists. Flat Earth Warrior says Mick West is a disinfo agent. Flat Earth Warrior says Mick West is a disinfo agent. So they say, but you have to be more specific. I don't agree with him about many things, but I am glad that he got on board with this thing, because what we don't want is an echo chamber. You don't want a lot of people saying, oh, it's this. And then it begins to sound like a church retreat. So what we have here are a number of speakers on different topics, one of them being the shape of the world. And then we have somebody, Mick West, who pretty much for a living, as his niche, and what he wrote about and what he talks about is he debunks conspiracy theories. He thinks chemtrails are fake. Yeah, he and I talked about that. In fact, not only does he think they're fake, but he's one of the really leading chemtrail debunkers. So I just think that anybody saying that chemtrails are real and that commercial airlines are dumping toxins on us, one, how come you're not suing? Two, how come no one's called the police? This is a war crime. So anyway, let me go ahead and see if I can get anybody to call in on that one. Also, if you want to support this channel, there is a YouTube has not monetized it as far as that goes, and I don't expect they will because very little of what I say passes their terms of service. But I am using Super Chat with Streamlabs, so I will read all Super Chats, and I think that it posted on the screen. Okay, so let me go ahead and email. I'm going to see if Mick West wants to call and talk about chemtrails. So, I just sent him an email. Yes, Pete Shea is here. Mick West is actually going to be at the Exit the Matrix Expo. Eddie Machete says, how are chemtrails fake? I see them all the time. Yeah, good point. And that's what I'm going to ask him. And that's what I'm really trying to get across here is that we shouldn't exclude people we disagree with. We should try instead to understand and reverse engineer where they're wrong. Gary says chemtrails are real. Flat Earth Warrior says Mick West is a disinfo agent. So they say.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
It's called barometer. It will give you your local barometric pressure, which means it's not adjusted for the local airport that's adjusted to sea level. Now, I believe the Salton Sea is about 224 feet below sea level, so there would be some interesting conversions there. But we don't have to convert. We want the actual raw barometric pressure. So we take the barometric pressure, wet bulb, dry bulb temperature.
I believe the stars in the night will diverge from one another. The ones that are circling above the equator versus the ones circling below. Wow, they're directing traffic all kind of, oh, this is nuts. Wow. This looks like people leaving a stadium with no rules. I mean, they're cutting across the median, which is a grass median here. I don't even know if my car would make it. All right, let's see what's going on. And maybe I'll do a GoFundMe. I just can't do it anymore. I can't just go without eating. It's just to keep doing flat earth experiments. If you focus on the moon and it knows it's right in the middle. Alexandros, thank you for the contribution. I really appreciate that. Really do.
Yeah, concept. You said it.
These are con artists. These are con artists. Everything is controlled by the creator anyway. This is why Krishna is called Ishwara Parama Krishna, which means the supreme controller of the universe. Every atom is under the creator's eyesight and knowledge and cognizance. Not a hair on your head is not known to the universal consciousness, which is the creator. And so it's all under control. We are here to be witnesses. Just observe. We're not here to judge. We're not here to do any of those interception things, to intercept.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room, you can see.
Do you not realize what is in store for people right now? Do you realize what they're doing with this stuff? Do you realize what this stuff does? These towers are weaponry. These systems are weaponized. I'm going to go over a couple things with you. I've gone over a lot of things in the past, but I'm going to keep hitting on this because it's not sinking in. Most people are in trance. Most people are zombies. Most people are self-absorbed myopic children, even though they're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. They just want to go and stare at the TV and cuddle up with their little blankie and stay on their merry-go-round and microwave their Hot Pockets. Folks, we are being herded into the compact cities, and they're putting the towers in. Now they're going to be putting in the microcells instead of these huge towers that are already in place, with power generating systems the size of shipping containers next to them, with cables 4 to 5 inches in diameter capable of handling hundreds of thousands of volts, what, for 5 watts of power? Are you freaking kidding me? Okay. What's coming is kill grid. Make no bones about it. These people, tell your kids we're overpopulated. These people that run things, like Mr. Gates, Prince Philip, Mr. Rockefeller, the Rothschilds, all these people talk about how to reduce the population at 95% down from what it is right now. We are in the midst of a silent war. They're not going to fire a shot, folks. They're going to cook you. And they're going to do it with invisible radio frequency emissions you're addicted to and in love with, because your junk works no matter where you go. You got to have your texts, you got to have your emails, you got to check your Facebook.
Because what liars do,
Well,
or
right
not just
now,
liars, what charlatans
I'm a salesman. I'm on
is
the
they,
road.
anybody
I'm
who's
in
trying to
the
get over
field.
it,
I'm
or
in
salesmen
the office. I need to
who's
be
selling
in
a
touch
used
with
car that's a
people.
lemon.
People need to be
They're
in
only
touch
going to
with
present
me.
to you what
I'm
looks
a
good,
researcher.
and they're going to
I'm an
minimize
activist.
where it's possible to
I
ignore
need
what
to be in
doesn't,
touch with people.
because it's
I
all
need
about
to be in
trying
touch
to
with me. Deploying our weaponized frequencies. And I'm going to explain this to you. Right now, the Wi-Fi in your house is 2.4 gigahertz. That's the frequency that stuff broadcasts on. Now, you can't open up a radio station without an FCC license. You've got to have a license to broadcast, and you've got to be given access to certain frequencies to broadcast on. That's called spectrum. We allot certain spectrum to certain companies, and if you haven't figured it out, your parents and your grandparents were watching the Idiot Box on the spectrum that was opened up 8 years ago, and the radio stations and the TV stations are controlled by 5 companies. Now they're probably controlled by 3 or 2. They've been feeding you lies for decades and decades and decades. You can't broadcast unless the FCC gives you a license. Now what they've done is the most harmful frequencies imaginable. You know, the 2.4 gigahertz, that happens to be the frequency that the water molecules start to rotate on their axis when they're hit with the radio frequency emissions at that particular frequency. Why are they messing with the water molecules? We're at 70% water, and they know what this stuff does. So what the FCC did is they opened up that frequency band, that part of the spectrum, to everybody, giving them a license to broadcast on it. And you know what that did? That virtually ensures complete proliferation and saturation of radio frequency emissions in that part of the spectrum. In other words, they want to bathe you in the frequency that messes with the water molecules. Is that a good idea? That's not a good idea.
The Matrix is in.
So I pop in the tape, I'm looking for the moonshot all the way through, you know what I mean? But they're not sending it to me. They know I need it to finish the film, and then they send me the wrong footage. And I'm like, okay, I need, the countdown, and they send me the wrong footage again. Okay, I said, they understand, Apollo 11, countdown, not edited, no video. They send me the wrong footage the 3rd time, knowing I need it to finish the film. And then when I ask for it the 4th time, they say, well, we have a new policy, we're going to pay for your postage. You don't pay for anything, you always pay for the postage. So now they're going to pay for my postage, but it's going to take a little bit longer because of the red tape. So I know something's up. I call up Dell and I'm like, I think that I'm going to know what we're doing. And then with the phone call was interrupted by the security. So right before that, I pop in the tape.
These people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy.
So I can kind of tell.
You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight the cops to protect.
You hear NASA say, the TV picture looks good. And then
Are you listening to me, Neil?
Exactly. And then you hear
Were
on
you
the 3rd
looking at the
channel.
woman in the red dress?
I was,
Evidently.
read it.
When we get there, you stick close by, okay?
Oh.
feel like getting wrecked.
One thing we might get out of Cyrus's little get-together is meeting some strange wool. I wouldn't mind laying a little something down on the way back.
No.
You got a one-track brain, you know that?
It's another training program designed to teach you one thing.
What do you know about Cyrus?
If you are not one of us, you are one of them. If you are not one of us, you are one of
What do
them.
you know about Cyrus?
If you are not one of us, you are one of them. That means that anyone we haven't unplugged is potentially an agent. Inside the Matrix,
Just remember
they
this.
are everywhere.
Out of a street family of 120 plus affiliates,
We have survived by hiding from them, by running. But they are the gatekeepers. They are guarding all the doors, they are holding all the keys, which means that sooner or later, someone is going to have to fight them.
Someone.